This is a similar setup to what we had in lab 4. The only thing that's changed is that the two wires that go from the 1 and 2 switch and go in here to the LED bar have been removed. Other than that, everything else is the same. Now for lab 5, we're going to be adding all 4 gates at the same time. So we have an AND gate here, a NAND gate, an OR, and a NOT. So we're going to have all of them at the same time in here, and we are going to hook them up as follows. I've used the MultiSim to make a simulation of the circuit, and I'm going to follow that to build this actual circuit. So first thing I'm going to do is put in all of the gates. The gates themselves have a number or a code on them right here, and if you search up that code, it'll tell you exactly what kind of gate it is. So we're going to start putting them in. They don't need to be spaced apart. You can just put them in right next to each other. And so those are all of the gates pushed in like this: AND, NAND, OR, and a NOT. So this is the same. The current is going to flow through these two wires, and then it's going to go into this AND gate, and then from the AND gate here, go to the LED bar. We have this grounded right here. We have power coming from the negative and power coming from the positive for this gate, and we need to do that for all the other gates, otherwise they will not work. Once we have power that can go to all of our gates, we are now going to start wiring them. So we have this AND gate wired up. Now we are going to do the NAND gate. So we need current to flow from our AND gate and be shared through this gate. We also need the current to flow all the way to the end of the LED bar because we want the 1 and the 2s to light up. So I'm going to take a wire and I'm going to put it in here. The first row is connected to 1, and I'm just going to connect the first row here. So you can see that it is in the same line as this first wire and in the same line of the first prong of the AND gate. And then this one is going to terminate into the same row or the same column as the first prong of the NAND gate. So it's going to look like this. Now I'm going to do the second wire, and the second wire is going to be the same thing but for the second switch. So putting it in the same column as the second switch here, and then it's going to terminate into the second column of our NAND gate here. So after we do that, we're just going to do the same for the next gate, because this is the OR gate, and the OR gate needs both power from the 1 and 2 switch. So from the first column here, I'm going to connect this in, and then I'm going to connect it into the first column of this gate. So this is going to go in here, and it's going to look like this. Now I'm going to do it for the second column, and I'm just going to do it down here. So in the second column, putting it in here, these two, this bottom one and this one that we're putting in, are in the same row as the second one, and it's going to go into the second column here as the second prong right here. So the current is flowing through all of these like this. Now for this last one, we only need the first input going into it, or input A. So we're not going to have our input B, in other words the second switch, go to it. We only want the first input. So we're going to take the first input, so the top wire currently, and we are going to match this up in the same column as the top wire, and then we are going to put this into the same column as the first prong of our NOT gate. See, it's in the same column, and we're not going to use the second one to connect from the second to here, because remember, the second one is not going to this. We only need one switch to go to this specific one. So we would be taking this, connecting it into the second part here, and then we'll run this to the second LED, and this will terminate here. So that will power the second LED. This is powering the AND gate. Now let's take a look at the NAND gate. That's right afterwards. Well, we have current flowing through it. We just need to have it wired to go into our LED output. So we're going to find the third column, the third one of these prongs, and we're going to place it in here. We can see that it's after this one, and it's also after this one. So these two red wires, it's after both of them. And now this is going to go into the next column right here. Before we deal with the OR or the NOT gates, we can see that we have the second LED wired up, but we don't have the first LED. I never connected it from here to the actual bar. So we need to continue the current I'm going to connect this into the first column, so the same column as this, and this is going to go into the first column here. Once that's set in, the first row is wired up. So the next thing that we're going to do is connect this OR gate. We can see we have some current going into the first column, and we have some in the second column with this white wire, so this bottom red and this white wire. So we need to take the output of this gate and put it into our LED bar. So we're going to put it in the third row because we already have in the first and the second row the switch power. So if we find the third row, we'll just put it in here. And then this is going to go into this LED. And then we're going to do the same for this gate where we have to connect it. We are going to connect it on the second row because we only have power from the first switch going into the first row. So we will connect it in here, and then it's going to go into this LED bar. And it should look like this. This should actually go into this one right here. And that's because I guess the output is going from the third line, not the second line. So we can see that this one is through the first column, and then this orange wire, that's the output wire for this gate, is in the third column. So after we do that, this will light up. We can see that this is the same output in the MultiSim. If I flip the first switch on the MultiSim, it gives us this output. If I flip the switch here, it's going to give us this output, so it's the same. You can disregard these last two bars. We don't have anything hooked up to them, as you can see, so they're not really here. And if we flip the first switch down, flip the second switch, we can see that we get the same output. And then if we flip both switches up, we are going to get this output, which is the same for both. So this is the entire circuit complete. And the first gate is the AND gate, the second gate is the NAND gate, the third gate is the OR gate, and the fourth gate is the NOT gate. And we have the current going through these red wires, and the actual color of the wire isn't important, it's just nice to organize things. So the current flows through all of these, and then when it hits this last one right here, the second to the last one, it'll jump from here, the second switch, to the LED bar because we don't need two switches going into here. And then the first current will just flow into this last one and then to the LED bar. And then the output wires are the blue, the green, the black, and the orange. So that's how you would go about making this circuit and doing this lab.